Halo, this is the Mega Construx Halo Heroes Series 7 collection of figures. These are sold separately, one at a time, but I'm going to review all of them in one video. I'm starting off with Spartan Carter from Halo Reach, because I want to. This is our first time getting him officially helmet off from Mega. The helmet is also included. I'll show you how that looks with the swap. Comes with the DMR with a paint application on it. And he has a paint application on the lower right leg and one on the upper left leg armor piece, as well as the left shoulder pauldron style armor there. So that's all looking pretty good. Has just a little bit of metallic flake mixed in. Actually, a modest amount of metallic flake mixed into the blue for the main armor pieces and also the helmet. Yeah, it's a pretty good looking one and great to get another major named character from Noble Team just by itself without having to buy a big old set. There he is with helmet on. That looks great, especially from just a little bit of distance. It's not too glossy, and the color chosen for the visor has some subtlety, yet I can still see the color coming through. I got the red application on the side there. It's really good. I mean, it's a treat to get an official head to go with it. That makes it a little extra special. But just in standard configuration, like we've gotten most of our figures over the years from Mega, this looks really, really good. Just good production, well chosen, especially levels of glossiness. It's not overdone, not too toyish. Next up, here's a new half-active camo version of Jewel Mdama. Or as silly humans like to mispronounce it sometimes, Mdama. You can call him Mdama. You can pronounce it however you want, but I'm going to pronounce it the way he would pronounce it himself. Doesn't really matter. We all know who we're talking about here. This figure has some interesting surprises, just that I personally didn't notice when looking at pictures of it. For example, all of the smoke-colored transparent pieces used for the body and the hips, and also his right upper leg segments, both of those are just, basically partly transparent. Gives a little bit better transition between the full visible and the part invisible kind of techniques. It looks much better to me than the half-active camo versions that they did of the Brute and also the Jackal before. Also, the main armor piece and the helmet are both actually done with clear plastic, completely clear, and they just applied a lot of paint to each. You can see part of the clear in the helmet. They didn't paint the ridge there, and you can see how you get the transition. It's actually a pretty hard mask between the blue, kind of navy blue, and the unpainted part on the main body armor, but it's all good. And that goes for the rear half as well. Bring the gray card in here so you can see this just a little bit better. Still have slightly different hues between the harder plastic and the softer. The softer is a little bit more yellowish. Nicely printed sword there. It's printed on both sides. So it doesn't matter which way you put it in the hand. It doesn't really have a camera-friendly side, if you will. That's good. Yeah, it looks good from pretty much every angle. Nicely produced. Nice and crisp applications of the pad prints on there for the hands. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Here's the new official Captain Lasky, and he comes with a official Roland with the transparent yellow color and a proper Roland specific mold with the bomber jacket and hands behind the back. That looks pretty good. I like the paint applications on the figure. I think that the sculpt used for the head is pretty darn good, except for the chin. The chin's just too big, too wide. It's just a little bit too broad-jawed for the in-game model that they used. The in-game guy looks more like just an an officer who went through officer training from the start, whereas this guy looks like somebody who started out as an enlisted man and then eventually very slowly worked through the ranks. But that's a little bit of a nitpick. Overall, the figure I think looks really good, with especially the little gold paint applications. It's got the paint application on the gray based Magnum, and I like the striping that goes down the trousers as well. That's applied pretty well and looks good from most distances. I mean, you're looking at this up really, really close, much closer than most humans ever will. So from a more reasonable distance, this is a very good looking figure. From Halo ODST, here's Dutch, and I cannot believe it's been 3 years since that last troop pack that came out that gave us this version of Dutch. I think the new one looks definitely better, more accurate, finer details, more of them, more paint applications, a little bit more contrast as well. It's important especially that they got some of that silver into the front of the helmet. Too bad they didn't actually get some teeth in there. You know, the tooth design. It's pretty iconic, but I'm glad they didn't go overboard with the major shark face for the whole thing. You know, being a little bit subtle with it is, I think, the right way to go. This one also has the paint applications on the shoulder armor pieces, and his Spartan laser has a number of paint applications as well. That's pretty good. One of the better looking classic Spartan lasers, I think, just given the colors that were actually applied to it. Hands look pretty good. Everything did fit together just fine. It does have a little bit of limited range of motion still, as all of these tend to do with the head, just because of the width of it and the bulk of the armor piece. But a pretty good looking figure. Another good, just, you know, named character to be able to get in one of these small figure only packs. So I think it's just all good. Yeah, keep going, keep going. This Vector Spartan is not a named character, but it's one of the more recent mold sets, one of the more recent armor sets to become available. You know, it uses some pieces from other sets, but that helmet is, I think, the newest helmet that they've added to their lineup. This is a pretty good looking one. The color scheme really reminds me of the Chorus Army guys from RVB a lot, like a lot. I haven't looked them up to see just, you know, where the placements are of the little markings and everything, but just at first glance, that's the first thing that came to mind. Concussion rifle looks pretty nice with that color of the paint application on it. It's a nice kind of subtle copper color, you know, it's not too bright. Also have an interesting gunmetal gray color on the back, which has a little bit of copper in it, just a little bit of hue that shows through. It's not a pure gray. That's nice as well, something different. Same color is used for the accents on the helmet, and a little accent on the shoulder armor here. Yeah, this is a lot of good stuff about this. I typically have trouble liking the really light colored armor sets. They tend to look extra toyish, and this is what I consider the cookies and cream mix with all the speckles in it. Some of them are red, brown, gray, or black, but with how many paint applications this actually has, and with the specific colors that were chosen, this works out really well. Maybe my favorite character they've done so far with a white base color. Last up, here's the Halo 3 throwback Mark 6 Spartan, and I'm pretty sure this is based on a specific variant from Halo 5 for the Halo 3 throwback, but I personally never use any of the armor variants, with the rarest exception, armor variants that don't allow you to control all the colors. You know, when they bring in additional colors that are just set with some of the designs, they just never work for me because they don't go well with the colors that I like to choose. But as a model here, this looks pretty good. It's nice to get something a little different, you know, to have multiple colors in there, not just a couple to contrast against each other. I think that this would stand out in most lineups. even if you have lots and lots of Spartans, you'd be able to locate this one very quickly. So that's good. And I really like the saw there. That's printed very nicely. Again, it uses that same color that the concussion rifle did on the Vector one for just the band around the magazine. That's a nice subdued copper color. I like it. It has a certain level of realism and believability to it. Just takes a little bit of the toyishness out. Helps you to see a little bit more fanciful reality in this toy, you know. But yeah, pretty good character, pretty well produced for ultimately just another generic Spartan. Cool, so another pretty good lineup here. I think that the least interesting one is the Mark VI Spartan, and it's not a bad figure at all, and everything else is just better from there. So I think they have continued to do pretty well. I've actually seen these show up in stores in my region less than 2 months after the release of the thing, so that was nice to see, although it's still difficult to get a full set. A lot of folks, you know, will still buy a whole box of them and put them on Amazon for, you know, the ridiculous prices and such, but at least this time around there was some availability. You just have to check on a regular basis. Hopefully that'll continue, but we shall see. I really hope the struggle will be reduced for Halo and Mega fans ongoing in the future, so that folks who want to be able to buy these things for something close to a reasonable price will just be able to. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I showed you each of these figures well enough for you to make your own purchase decisions, and I'll talk to you again soon.